Hello, everybody. Another day, another quote. May 17th. I am a fighter. I believe in a bright future. I think each and every one of us is a fighter. We may not give ourselves the credit we're due, but life is not easy for anyone. Everyone has their cross to bear. Everyone has their historical trauma. Everyone has obstacles and difficulties. Everyone has a slew of aches and pains and aging, even if they don't have chronic illnesses and conditions and mental health conditions. 1 in 4 Americans will be diagnosed with depression at some point over the course of their life. We lose people we love. We go through grieving and loss. We get terrible health diagnoses. We experience house fires. We lose the love of our life, or so we thought. We lose friends. We lose sleep. We lose our patience. And if things get really complicated, really difficult, and we're really in a crisis position, we've had too much cumulative effect of crises in our lives, too much stress in our lives over time. We no longer have the energy to face it. Some of us wake up in the morning, and some of us will have periods in our life where we wake up in the morning and all we want to do is just close our eyes and go right back to sleep and just not face the day. We have fantasies about escaping. We imagine some tropical island or a cruise or just packing a backpack with the essentials and taking off walking down the road with no destination in mind, or hopping in our car and driving off into the sunset. The truth of the matter is that you will follow yourself wherever you go. You can't outrun yourself. Sooner or later, the newness wears off. The things you can do, the new places to explore, the new job, the new friend, the new partner, the new place that you move, the escape only lasts a short time because you take yourself with you. And every emotional baggage that you carry, every scar that is unresolved, every burden that you bear, and every duty and obligation and responsibility of maintaining and sustaining your life, your health, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, your relational health, your financial health, your hygienic health, your household, your bills, your sustenance, and that of all those around you that depend on you, is still a duty, an obligation, and a responsibility. And sometimes we're in a good constitution. On a day-to-day basis, this can fluctuate, and we feel like we're capable. And then something happens. Could be as simple as a series of allergies that keep us from getting good night's sleep for a few days, or a major crisis in your life, like a major instance, as I was talking about earlier, a house fire or a trauma or abuse. And it all seems to fall apart all at once. It can be a cumulative effect of burnout and stress and exhaustion. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy and a drained one. No relaxation, no recoup, no things to look forward to, no enjoyment, all work and obligation and duty and grind and stress and productivity, wearing yourself thin and not allowing yourself to be human, or guilting yourself every time that you are. Or it can be due to specific situations that have occurred in your life that have just taken the wind right out of you, knocked your knees out from underneath of you. You're all fighters. You just may not have given yourself the credit for it yet. No one said that it would be easy. But each and every one of you have already overcome innumerable things on a daily, minutia basis, and on a grand and tremendous and traumatic and crisis basis. You have surmounted many obstacles and difficulties and crises and situations and emotional upheavals and stresses and setbacks and failures and starting over and pain, and your resilience and your capacity to overcome is more often far stronger than you give yourselves credit for. You have already proven it time and time and time again. I believe in a bright future. Hold on to hope. No matter how dark it is, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how high the mountain seems to climb to get to the other side of what you're going through, no matter how deep the momentary, temporary pain, this too shall pass, feels, you must have some sort of hope that it will get better, even if it's just simply due to patience and time. Or you don't have much of a reason to wake up in the morning. That is the key to remaining a fighter. You don't have to have tremendous successes in life. You don't have to be at the pinnacle of anything. You don't have to prove your value and your worth. You don't have to be in productivity mode and go mode all the time. You don't have to force self-growth or self-improvement. You don't have to make yourself speed or expedite through pain and crises. You don't have to and shouldn't do it alone. You should seek helpful resources, trusted friends, trusted mentors, professional help and resources if necessary. They are available. They are out there for guidance from those who know, and support where you can. When you're dealing with difficulties, don't burden yourself with putting them all on your shoulders. But if you believe, as we often do, because it is hard to see past our emotion, when our emotion takes over, it takes over. Our prefrontal cortex, which is our decision-making conscious mind, becomes dampened down when we are overcome with emotion, pain, and difficulty. Emotion overrides these systems and drives the car. And when we are having the best times of our life, when life is amazing, we feel as though that will never end. And then we're shocked. Life is cyclical when something else happens. And we feel the same way, but it's much less enjoyable when it's not good. Pardon me. That the pain and the difficulty will never end. And that is when we can lose our hope. Look backward at yourself. Look backward at your life and take into account everything you have survived thus far. Not just survived, overcome, achieved, stabilized. Since then, you have already battled many, many wars. And you have won. And your evidence is the fact that you are still standing here today. You are still living, you are still breathing. Whatever your current circumstances are, your current circumstances do not dictate your permanent circumstances, good or bad. And your history of overcoming difficult times thus far is 100%. So you have a pretty good track record of being a warrior, of fighting back. Sometimes just getting through a day and giving yourself credit for surviving a day is something to be proud of. That means you won that day when it's really hard, when it's really difficult, when you've got a lot going on. Simply surviving another day is something to self-validate and be proud of. We've all fought a million hurdles, obstacles, traumas, scars, difficulties in our life, in our past, in our present, and we will in our future. That doesn't mean that life is not good. That doesn't mean that there will not be amazing things in the interim. That doesn't mean you can't expedite through proper emotional coping strategies, self-care techniques, and walking in the direction of better choices that are going to hasten the outcome, not spending too much time ruminating or assuming that this is going to be a forever situation. If you have found yourself deep in the depths of clinical level depression or a severe crisis, seeking adequate help, timely help to get you out of it. But you are all fighters. You are all warriors. Or you would not be standing where you are right now. Because no one's life is easy. Everyone's life is difficult. And the fact that you have a 100% track record of both overcoming all obstacles, and some of which have been harder than what you are dealing with now, if you are dealing with something now, should give you strength and recognition that you are stronger and more resilient than you realize. Even if you don't realize you are fighting, even if you don't realize you are doing anything, you are a fighter. You are stronger than you think. And you do have hope. Knowing that you have a 100% track record of surviving anything difficult means that you're a fighter. You are a survivor. You are doing it right. No matter where you stand right now in your life, in your relationships, in your finances, in your situation, in your emotional and mental health. You're fighting the good fight, or you wouldn't be as okay as you are. You wouldn't still be standing. You'd be broken and heading down a very unhealthy track. Even if you have been, the fact that you can recognize that and pull yourself back, that you have the willingness to pull yourself back when you make wrong turns and go down dangerous and detrimental paths, means that you care enough about yourself and have some idea that the future will be here. Also, the awareness retrospectively that those bad times that were so critical, so overwhelming, so difficult in that moment, in that period of your life, some of which again may have been more difficult, more traumatic than what you're currently dealing with, felt so overwhelming, so impossible, and like you could never surmount them, are now nothing more than a vague bad memory. They're not a problem in your present existence, those things that you have previously conquered. That means that there is an end to things. It comes by effort, or it comes by nature. All things are in process of change and evolution. And 10 years from now, nothing of your life that is will be the same. Whether you work for it or not, it will automatically change all by itself to some other different constitution of what is you and is your life. That's why it's better to try to pay attention and try to take care of the things so you can sort of have some sort of control over where that 10-year end point may find you in your physical, mental, emotional health, relationships, etc. But you should hope, because you are a fighter. You've fought before and you've won over and over and over again, and you've won over more difficult things than you're currently dealing with. And every bad thing in your life, you have not only overcome 100% of the time, each and every previous thing, but each and every previous thing came to an end, and better circumstances followed. They didn't last. Nothing is permanent. But that should allow you hope that in the future, whatever you're dealing with now, it will get better, because history, we learn from history, and history teaches us it always has gotten better in due time and hastened with proper work and good guidance. Never lose your hope, and never spend the good times waiting for the other shoe to drop. You miss your own life in anxiety and worry, and then you spend the good times in a bad time. You are a fighter. You believe in a bright future. I want you to say that to yourself over and over and over again, like an affirmation, like an I am affirmation. Saying it aloud. You probably want to do that in private so people don't think you're crazy talking to yourself, but it has more of an effect. Speaking a thing and hearing ourselves say it in our own voice does something to our brain that encourages a new structure of neural networks. And I encourage you, if you find the idea that you are a fighter, you think you are weak, you think you are just a survivor, you think you don't have it in you to carry on anymore. You're exhausted and you are at that place where you just want to go back to bed and you just can't do another day of this life thing, and you think the pain will never end and the obstacles are too big. Reflect on your past. Think of all you've overcome. Think of how you've had a 100% track record of doing so. Think of times that were more difficult than this and how now they're nothing more than a vague memory, just a pinpoint as everything else in your distant past. And they are not present in your current life, proving to you that there will be an end. And when you do reach that end, don't waste that good time worrying about the next problem. Enjoy the good. The problem will show up soon enough, and you can deal with it then. And in the meantime, if you find this one hard to swallow about yourself, it's a given fact about all humans. We've all suffered, we've all overcome. We're all fighters. And we all believe in a bright future, even in the depths of depression. And if you find that completely unswallowable, you might need to see a professional for some help if you really have lost all your hope that things can change, because they always do. I want you to say it to yourself over and over and over and over out loud until you believe it. Until that little voice in your head doesn't ring back to you that this is a lie. I am weak. I am incapable. This is never going to end. It's never going to get better for me. Retrain that automatic unconscious response in your brain by repeating after me out loud again and again and again and again until it doesn't feel like a lie. I am a fighter. I believe in a bright future. You are fighters. And I believe in a bright future for all of you. Otherwise, what's the point? Good morning. Goodbye, YouTube.